Hi everyone, I'm here with Phoebe. She is a designer, a muralist, she's an entrepreneur, and she has her own company here in San Diego called Pandr. I'm so excited to talk to you today.
Thanks for having me.
You've been working for yourself for about 10 years now, but I'm curious, can you take me back to the beginning of your creative journey?
Yes, yeah, I can. Where do I begin? Was always one of those creative kids, so I always knew I wanted to be an artist, not necessarily a graphic designer or a muralist, but knew I wanted to do this route. Lucky enough, had parents that supported this vision, so they supported me going to art school. I didn't apply to any other programs, like I wanted to do art. So studied graphic design. Upon graduating, applied to every job in California for graphic designers, and then got a job out here in San Diego in Vista, so North County, and then bounced around between a couple positions, but worked in-house as a graphic designer for 3 years, not long in the corporate world. And then in early 2016 is when I went freelance.
You've built this amazing brand. I was like looking up on the internet, I was like going deep. You've worked with some really cool brands too, but how were you really able to like scale your business?
Just like continually putting myself out there. So it's helpful to be present on social media, although a lot of people like don't enjoy that. I think a lot of artists like the idea of working for themselves, but then when they realize like, oh, you actually have to do the business stuff and like the not fun stuff too, that's not appealing to a lot of people, which I encourage those people like work with an agent, then work with a gallery. That's when it makes sense. But I actually enjoy the business stuff. So I really leaned into that early on, and a lot of cold emailing, a lot of speaking at events, being social is a lot about like how to scale your business.
Yeah, because you said you worked in corporate for like 3 years, and then you wanted to go and to do freelance. Like, how long did you do freelance for before you started your own company? Or was that like you started it right away?
It was like a half a year to a year of like kind of figuring it out, like what it was going to be. And I actually started with a business partner, so it was easy with the two of us going in it together because it was like less risky, I guess. And we could like hype each other up. So yeah, I'd say a year of like awkwardness, and then like, okay, this is like a legit business.
What did the early stages of that look like for you?
Yeah. So I also should mention, like, while I was working in-house as a graphic designer, I was hosting a lettering club here in San Diego.
Ooh.
Yeah, like everyone does. It's so common. I was really interested in lettering specifically, so hand lettering. Upon organizing creatives and hosting these meetups, gave me a platform because I had a specific Instagram for that, and then people thought of that as a business, and we started making merch and stuff, and so that's where it kind of led me to have more confidence to do this as a business as well. So yeah, that was the early stages, like getting like little asks here and there. But like a lot of creatives, like also like throughout my whole life, like your aunt's always asking you for something, or like, you know, so-and-so is like, oh, like Phoebe's creative, she could design the t-shirt. So I think we're all always freelancing. But yeah, just these like little things here and there.
You talked a little bit about using social media for small businesses, for artists. That's so important. Can you give us any tips on growing your brand on social media?
Yeah. I know it's daunting to a lot of people, but I'm kind of like, sorry, you got to do it. It's part of it. And it doesn't have to be horrible. Like, you can make it whatever you want it to be, and don't reinvent the wheel. Like, honestly, whatever I'm posting on Instagram is pretty much the same thing on TikTok, on Pinterest. Like, just recycle that. You know, obviously you have to reformat it for those different platforms, but not reinventing the wheel every time. So that makes it feel a little bit, you know, easier to digest. And like, that's where I've built so much community. So guess social media is daunting, but like I've met so many awesome creatives through there. A lot of the painters that I hire around the country to help me install murals, I've connected with through social media. So like when I get a project in Boston, I'm not like, oh my gosh, how am I gonna paint this project all by myself? Like I already know my go-to people because I've been chatting with them on Instagram for years. Awesome. So yeah, like use it for what makes sense for you. But yeah, in terms of attracting clients, like it is important to show up and show off what you've been working on.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
you can't just do this in the privacy of your home and not show anyone what you're doing. Like the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So even if you think it's like the dumbest, ugliest project, you'll be surprised. I'm like, oh, I don't really love this that much, but then I'll share it, and it like you just never know what people are going to respond to.
Yeah.
That being said, like don't share a ton of work that you don't like, because what you put out there is what you'll attract. So, but like also doing fake projects, like if you're not getting asked to do a ton of like what you like for your clients or for your job right now, like come home and do a fake project just for fun and share that. I've definitely gotten work that way as well.
Okay, thank you, because I remember when we had our introduction call, you were like, I am an open book. I'm open to talking about anything that you want. So I love that you're open to talking about pay transparency, because I think that's really important, especially for artists that are starting to get into freelance work and maybe want their own business. How much do you like typically make on a project, depending on the project? Like, what does that look like?
Yeah, it's changed over the years. So obviously, like the further I've gotten in my career, and I've asked for more money. So I think when I was starting out, it was like $1,000 minimum. Then it was $2,000 minimum, and now I'm up to $5,000 minimum. Gotcha. So I'd say most projects these days, most of my work is murals, are in the 5 to 10K range. Gotcha. I've had like 2 6-figure mural projects. Nice. Haven't had one yet this year, but so those are few and far between, but they're amazing when they come around.
Yeah. Do you think that there's like a recipe for coming up with the right payment?
Mm-hmm. It's really hard. Especially when I was starting out, it was really hard. I had no idea what I was doing, and it was like literally looking at walls and just guessing, like, oh, this looks like it's $2,000. This one, it was just willy-nilly. So that was not a good way of pricing. I learned quickly. It's not good for you, the mural artist, or the clients, because they're like, well, wait, why was that one? If they come back to you, like, why was that one this much and that one's that? So you need a rhyme or reason. For me, it's square footage. Some artists don't work that way, but like that's how I think it's like an easy mathematical formula. Give or take, like certain things, like if the wall texture is really crazy, add some dollar signs. If you have to rent specific equipment, if the client seems like they're going to be a little difficult, rush fees, like that's something like across all artistic professions, like rush fees you should certainly charge more for. But yeah, so now in 2025, I'm charging $45 a square foot, generally around there, give or take those things I just talked about. I do also like sign painting, where someone will come to me with the design. So that's usually around $20-ish a square foot, because I'm not designing anything. Same if it's going to be applied as a vinyl. So like I'm not actually hand painting it. I'm just handing over a digital file. But yeah, to be flexible with clients, I do think it's important to provide options. So it's not just like yes or no, want to work together. It's kind of like the Goldilocks principle, they say, like one low, one high, one sweet spot in the middle, which is what they usually go for. And then clients feel like you're working with them, giving them some different packages to choose from.
So, I love this question. Before the recognition, before the money, like what kept you going?
Well, I think just the fact that like I literally don't know what else I would do. Like I just was so clear-headed. Like I just love making art. So I knew I needed to do something creative. I can't really picture myself being like a scientist or definitely not a nurse. Like my family is all in healthcare and stuff, and like blood. But good for them. You need those people. Now I can see myself being like maybe like more business consulty, but like when I was starting out, yeah, like it was just like there's no other options. But I also like, I am fairly competitive. So like, I remember when I was working in-house, like if my design got chosen versus my colleagues' designs, like I'm very competitive. So that kept me going, like that I wanted my designs to be chosen. So, and then, yeah, today I am very financially driven and just like, you know, trying to paint a mural in every state. I'm at 32. Like it's just, I have stats for everything.
Yeah, I love that. It's good to be competitive with yourself. And with other people for fun too. Like I love being competitive. So
Yes,
I
community
totally
over
understand.
competition. It
Of
totally,
course.
but I am going to track.
Yeah, I love that. You've been talking about like in-house versus freelance. Can you talk to me about what that climate looks like a little bit for someone that doesn't know?
Right. So I was in-house for 2 separate bike companies, or one that made cycle wear for women, triathlons, that kind of thing. And then one which was like physical bikes. So I was designing the fenders, the designs on the fenders. The industrial designer would be doing the actual product itself, but I was doing the graphics. So really funky, like fender graphics, helmets, bells. So I was in-house versus like an agency setting. You'd be working on multiple like industries, different clients, which could probably be like spiced up a little bit, maybe more exciting. But when you're in-house for a company, like you get to see that brand grow and evolve. And it was a really good experience. Like obviously I didn't last long in that setting, but I think having at least those 3 years under my belt gave me some insight when I'm working with clients now, like how things run behind the scenes in corporate world. Yeah, so it was positive.
Did you know, have you always wanted to have your own business, or was that something that...
No, totally just
Really?
happened. Yeah, I never thought I would, but yeah, it worked out really lovely.
Yeah, you're doing amazing. Okay.
Thank you.
So you started your business. Like how long did it take before you started becoming like profitable?
Yeah, I'd say after 2 years, probably like actually picked up momentum, because then I realized like, oh, you can't just wait around for projects to land in your lap. Like you really need to like go after. And that's where I'm a big obsessor of cold emailing. So that's where I really started cold emailing businesses and targeting people.
What does your cold email template like usually look like? You don't have to go into like the exact detail, but like how do you start? And had a little bit of a moment. I may or may not tell you guys about it. But the moral of the story is make sure your camera is covered.
Yeah.
We were really getting into it, guys. Okay, so going to events and doing networking events in person versus reaching out to people on social media or emailing. Do you think that they should do both, or do you think like one is better than the other? Like, how do you feel about that?
I think they both hold a lot of weight. Obviously, like in a perfect world, you know, we could do everything in person, but you know, it's not as convenient. And, you know, if you want to connect someone across the globe, like, that's not going to happen. So slide into people's DMs for sure. And this happened with an artist that I admire in the Bay Area the other day. She was in my DMs on Instagram asking a question, and we were going back and forth, and I was like, can we just have each other's numbers and be real friends? Because I've admired you for a while. So we ended up exchanging numbers and having a phone call about it, which was a lot faster than going back and forth. And so I feel like that's going to be a new friendship, and it just never hurts to connect with people off of social media.
Do you have any, like, if someone does want to go out to networking events in person, like, are there any tools that you can use? Like, I know Meetup is, like, for example, do you have anything like that you can think of that people could?
When I first moved to San Diego, Creative Mornings was huge, and I believe it's still going strong. I haven't been in a while. It's like COVID threw a wrench in a lot of those types of things, but I believe around the country and the world, Creative Mornings has always been like a lovely place to at least get like a little bit of social interaction before you sit down and you get to learn about whoever's presenting. So that's like a top creative one, at least. Yeah.
I didn't know about that. So
there you go.
There you go. You talked about going to art school. And I spoke with Thomas about this, and we were discussing if it's important to go to art school if you wanted to end up doing something in the creative space. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, I don't think it's as important anymore. There's just so many places that you can learn about art besides the formal education, plus it's so expensive. So I don't think anyone should be going into major debt for that reason. That being said, like, I did have a positive experience. You know, I think you learn a lot of technical skills in art school. Like, I came out of my program being super well equipped in all the Adobe programs, but I don't even like use those as much anymore. Like, I mostly Procreate on the iPad versus Illustrator and Photoshop, but it is really great for technical skills. You know, again, like in person, you know, make networking, that's always going to be beneficial. But yeah, in terms of like the business side of things, like freelancing, I don't think that was talked about enough. Like, I didn't learn any of that stuff really in school. I don't even think we talked about what a good salary would be when you leave. So I felt like I was kind of going in blind with that. Did a lot of unpaid internships in art school because like that was the mentality. It's just like what you did. Mm-hmm. Which we were saying, like, we hope that changes. Like, It's 2025, let's just pay people. But yeah, so there's pluses and minuses. Technically, all the technical skills I think are great, but yeah, like there's YouTube and lots of other more affordable options these days.
Okay. If someone did want to go to art school, what did that process look like for you as far as like application and everything?
It was wild. Yeah, and I was saying, like, I still have trauma from that. I was rejected twice from RISD. I really wanted to go to the Rhode Island School of Design, but here's to show, like, you don't have to get into your dream school and you can still be fine. But yeah, so I got into Pratt, but what was wild about the RISD situation is, like, you had to draw these, like, 18 by 24 drawings and actually send them physically to RISD, and then you just never see them again. Like, they keep those things. And I did that twice. So they have 6 of my drawings in, like, a storage container somewhere. But those 3 drawings, one of them always had to be a bike, and every school wanted a bike drawing. I don't know why that's what they all decided on together, and I don't know if it's still this way, but you needed to draw a bike and then 2 other things, like, all just to show that you could draw from life. Like, that was like the thing that you had to be able to do. They don't care if you can copy a photo, it has to be from life. But yeah, at least you could photograph the RISD drawings and then use those in your portfolio elsewhere, and put them all on a CD that you mailed to everyone too. This is back in 2008. And then prior to 2008, which is when I graduated high school, I think when I was a sophomore or junior, I went to this like portfolio day in the Philadelphia Convention Center. It's where I grew up, and you walk around to all the different schools that you were interested in, the booths, and like have them look at you're literally carrying like a physical portfolio in of all your drawings and paintings, and people tell you if you're horrible and to like give up on your dreams, or you know, if the nice people will tell you like, okay, this is what you could add or subtract to make yourself stand out when you go to actually apply. I remember my parents making me go and talk to schools, even if I wasn't thinking I wanted to apply there, just to like, the idea is to get like more feedback early on before you apply. So yeah, it was a lot. It's a whole process in addition to just like taking the SATs and like being a teenager.
Oh my God. Yeah, that sounds like a lot of work.
Yeah.
But when you do get in, it's like the best feeling, I'm sure, and like it pays off.
Yeah, yeah.
Then lastly, when did you realize that art was more than a hobby to you?
I think that was early on. Yeah, because in high school, my high school was very much trying to promote science and math, but like I was good at those classes. I was an A and B student, but I made sure to get art in my schedule through senior year. I took AP art, and it was important to me because I knew that this was more than just a hobby. You know, I wanted to do this for my career.
Yeah. Is there a message that you would want to share to someone out there that wants to pursue art as a career?
Mm-hmm. It was really evident. It came up this time last year, actually. I did a mural for my high school, which was like really sweet, full circle moment. Getting hired and paid by your high school that like, I wouldn't say like they didn't believe in me, but like for a school that like doesn't necessarily like value the arts as much as they could, to have them pay to bring me back and do this was really special. And I had some high school students working alongside of me just so they could see how a mural works. And, you know, we talked about getting to this career path and whatnot. And one of the students expressed that she was a senior and her parents weren't exactly supportive of this path. So she was feeling a little stuck, like, what am I supposed to do? And I was like, you know, do whatever schooling they'll pay for right now, get your associates or whatever. And if you care about it this much, you will find a way, as you did, you know, you got out of recruiting, and like, if you're that passionate about it, you will find your way there. It doesn't have to be, you know, it doesn't have to be this specific path. Just making time for it, whether it's after your 9 to 5, on the weekends. You ask your boss if you can be in charge of like designing the newsletter or whatever. Like, just you have to seek it out.
Yeah. And I think for a lot of us, I say like it's my calling because it's so strong. Like, I really believe that you'll find your way there.
There's no right way or wrong way of getting there. I mentioned, like, I have a friend that's a muralist who was in banking for many years. So it's really cool to see how we all end up here and we all bring something different to it because we have these unique backgrounds.
Yeah. And you're like, wait, so how did you make this?
Okay, so first I projected. It's not cheating. Time is money. Work smarter, not harder.
Yeah.
So use a projector, and then traced it out with, I actually used Sharpie, and then taped out some of these circles, mixed a whole bunch of colors. Just like, I didn't count how many colors are in this guy, actually. Bless you.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just a lot of mixing and brushing. This is a bumpier stucco, so it kind of is a nightmare to get in these little divots, so small roller is helpful when you can. Bless you.
God, sorry, thank you.
I never sneeze once. Yeah, it's always multiple. And then going in like with touch-ups with the background, the white color, but yeah. Oh, and then, but to start though, drew everything on the iPad.
And then projector.
Yeah. And with the electrical box, it might have been not necessary, but I did prime it with, there's like a special metal primer. It's just so that the paint can grip it a little bit better.
And then this will stay rain, shine.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.